Hello, this is Unlimited Splash, where we get better at Magic together through a new draft video every weekday, and welcome back to another episode of Splash Champs, where one of my viewers plays for a box and I'm not allowed to help. Why am I not allowed to help? It's just my read of the terms and conditions. I don't think you're really supposed to coach people directly on how to win a box, so what you're about to see is a viewer named Cam trying to win a box in this extremely punishing event, where if you get 7 wins before your second loss, then you get a box of Hobbit collector booster packs mailed to your house. He has already recorded the video, but I have not watched it, so I'm going to commentate what happens without knowing how it turns out. Now, Cam has actually recorded an awesome intro, so I'm going to turn it over to him.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Splash Champs. I'm excited to be the guest for today. Before we get started, Splash asked me to do a quick intro about myself. I'm Cam. This is Nugget, and we're going to be trying to win a box of The Hobbit. I got into Magic in around 2001. Odyssey is the first set that I can remember. I started by playing Vintage. That was the only tournaments that my local game store held. I played an awful red-green beatdown deck that didn't compete with any of the fully powered Vintage decks at all. I was able to cobble together a blue-red fish deck, which was a budget-ish kind of deck back then. Volcanic Islands, Grim Lavamancers, Force of Wills, and the most important card, Standstill, which is still like one of my favorite cards. I think it really makes the game kind of interesting. It's a who moves first kind of card. I piloted that deck to a 4th place win in a tournament of 74 people, which got me 4 revised plateaus, I believe. I wish I still had them. Unfortunately, I wrecked my car my first year of college, and I had to sell my cards in order to buy a new car, and that was the end of my paper career. I've been playing Arena since it came out. I don't even remember when that was, but on and off since it came out, mostly focusing on my career, not so much focusing on the game. I've only been focusing on the game for the last year, and since I started watching Splash, I actually checked my 17 lands data. My win rate has gone from 47% to like 53%. So I'm pretty proud of that increase. I haven't won any boxes yet, but we're going to try in just a second because I'm curious for the rest of the community, what are your biggest movers up or movers down in the Hobbit set? Leave it down in the comments. Mine is Crude Bent Blade. I thought the card was going to be like a D, and it ended up being like a B-. In fact, if I can draft like 5 of them, I'll play like 5 Crude Bent Blades. It's only really bad against the blue-white deck, which you just really don't see because everybody's playing red-black. And even against something like Amass, they're eventually going to get a really big token that you can just Crude Bent Blade. And honestly, even if it just removes a 1/1, then you've got an efficient equipment to add 2/1 for 2 mana. It's just so good. So leave in the comments, what are your movers up, movers down? And from here, Splash, take it away.
All right, thank you so much, Cam, for that intro. And now we're going to watch Cam open his packs. You know, we are hoping for Rakdos pretty much as always, Rakdos rares. We did get 1 colorless rare, but it's Sting, which is unfortunately terrible. What's good here? I think that Gandalf is strong, but Cam is jumping into it. And I love this sorting method. One of my favorite things about Splash Champs is seeing all the different ways that people build their pools. And I love this idea. Just look at the 1 and 2 drops and see what you can do early in such a fast format. So, okay, we've got double Tidings of War. We've got Stony Voice Goblins, a double Goblin Town Flunkies, a Ravening Warg, Stir Up Trouble. Yeah, I can see the makings of a fast Rakdos deck here. We have not that many early black plays. But, oh, interesting. Now we're thinking about just putting together a creature-based Boros deck. Yeah, I love this way of focusing attention. Like, I need a certain number of creatures. I need a certain number of early drops. I'll turn off this thing here because it might obscure deck building, but I should call out that in this season of Splash Champs, the Hobbit Collector Booster run, we've had 1 Splash Champ who won 4 games, lost 2 of them, and won 0 boxes. But a 4-2 record is quite admirable in an event like this. So we'll turn that off, but we'll update that counter every time Cam wins a game. Okay, so in white, I'm seeing Mountain King's return, celebrate the Mountain King, but no rares. It doesn't look like he's currently applied any filters unless I missed something. So not that many pulls into white, except Celebrate the Mountain King and Mountain King's Return are both pulls. In blue, Plunder the Trollshaws, Long Lake Nuisance. There must be a filter on, right? That's so few cards. Or are all of his cards red? Whoa, this pool is really cool. In sealed, you really want big color imbalances because every card in a color that you're not playing is a wasted card. So the idea of just having a whole ton of red cards is extremely appealing, especially because red is, I won't necessarily say the best color, but close to it. Also, I just looked up my grade for Crude Bent Blade because Cam was talking about thinking that it would be a lot better than it would be. My verdict was a C. I anticipated that it would be a C on 17 lands, and right now it's looking like it is a Crude Bent Blade. It's a B+, so a bit of a miss by me. Okay, so we have, let's see, Dreaded Batcloud I think could be a lot better in sealed. I'm assuming it's not that great, or I'm pretty sure it's not that great in draft, but just 4-power flyer that will sometimes have a discount in sealed is quite solid. So we have a good top end also with the Gandalf Sparkstarter. Burn Tree Infern is a fantastic removal spell. Smaug is also just a very solid removal spell for sealed. And then otherwise the deck looks pretty fast. I'm noticing a big kind of traffic jam there in the 3-drop area. Let me remind myself of what Gandalf Goblin's Bane does, because that one I've seen, but I couldn't tell you. It's like prowess somehow, right? So here we go. So Gandalf Goblin's Bane. 2/3 for 2 and a red. When you cast a non-creature spell, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn and deals 1 damage to each opponent. Yeah, that's right. It's super prowess. You can send him on an adventure, look at the top 2 cards of your library and exile them face down. For as long as they remain exiled, you may play them if you control a wizard. And I'm guessing he does not have many wizards in here. I haven't seen that card played in sealed yet. I'm guessing it's mediocre, honestly. A 2/3 for 3 with prowess. If you can support it with like a bunch of Tidings of War, I guess it could be a nice aggro creature. But I'm wondering, like, how much better can it be than like Bomber or something, which just starts out with 5 power and you don't have to work to increase the stats. And then exiling the top 2 cards of your library would be awesome, but the fact that you need a wizard sounds like a very difficult thing to achieve. So I don't know that that's like the best mythic for us to need to support. Misty Mountain's Cold. Now that card is interesting. I did see it at pre-release, and it performed kind of well there. And I also saw it, someone played it against me at the very end of a game and it fell totally flat. I think that card is like, it's one of these cards which is either incredible or irrelevant, and it rarely falls in between. So I think you probably do run it, but I don't think you are counting on it, on your whole gameplay and hinging on it. It's also not like a major bomb rare. So I think Cam is doing something very sensible for when you just don't have amazing rares, so far as I can tell. It looks like he just didn't really open that much awesome power in the rare slot. And that is just build a really fast deck and try to win before your opponent is going to play their rares. So I think Cam was not fully convinced yet by the Rakdos deck, wants to look at some other options, and it looks like he's considering red a white. I mean, it's an interesting pool. There's not that much room for discussion or disagreement here, I don't think, because I just think that red is so far ahead of all of the other colors in this pool. And I mean, black just has so much card power that you have to first think about pairing red with black. I like some of the blue cards. I honestly don't see any green cards on the screen that I particularly like except Nasty Little Rabbit. So it's like, yeah, do I want to pair red with black or pair red with white? I think that's exactly what I would be trying out as well. And I think you probably lean towards pairing it with black here, because what is pulling us into white? It's literally just Celebrate the Mountain King and the Mountain King's Return, right? And then we're playing like a tiny little bit of filler just to get up to, looks like he's thinking about playing 24 cards in a highly aggressive deck. Makes sense. It doesn't even really help us with 2-drops because we only get 1 extra 2-drop from white that we could not also play in red. And in terms of rares, he has this Dwalin Weapon Master. This card is probably fine in a deck that has a ton of equipment. It could probably be strong in a deck that has a ton of equipment, right? He has 1 piece of equipment, the Dwarven Short Sword. Is that it? So that's not even, it's not like Dwalin is, okay, and the Ragged Short Spear. It's not like Dwalin is a huge reward for going Boros either. All right, so Cam, it looks like he agreed that the Rakdos build is better. We actually get the same number of equipments for Dwalin because of the Crude Bent Blade. Yeah, I agree with highlighting this Iron Hill Stalwart. I mean, there is basically a stack of cards that I wonder if those are the ones that he's thinking about cutting. Iron Hill Stalwart and the double dreaded Bat Cloud. I mean, the Bat Clouds I have a whole lot more patience for in Sealed. I think a 4-power flyer can just be totally solid in Sealed. I would wonder about cutting the Iron Hill Stalwart for maybe like one of these cards that, let's see. Okay, I'm no aggro specialist, so this is a little bit outside my comfort zone. Interested to hear from people who are better at aggro than I am, what you would cut it for. I think the Iron Hill Stalwart strongly suffers from not having haste. I kind of liked the one that had haste in Secrets of Strixhaven, the red beater, 4-power red beater for 5 in Secrets of Strixhaven. I kind of liked it in Sealed, despite it being literally like an F level card, Rearing Embermare, I believe, because it had haste. It would just come out of nowhere and just kill your opponent when they weren't expecting it. It could sometimes just be a lava axe. But Iron Hill Stalwart does not have that, and we don't have any equipment synergies with it. I might even just look, I should unobscure his mana base. I might even look at just playing, oh, we're already on 17 lands. I mean, oh, he actually had to make a cut. So yeah, I probably would have cut the Stalwart, but that's fine. I mean, this is just quibbling. This set, you know, you might have noticed it's a little bit imbalanced, and I do think you sometimes get these pools where it's just like, okay, what's the best Rakdos deck that I can build? All right, good luck to Cam in game 1. You might have noticed Cam is a highly entertaining individual, and he actually does stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/theobservationist, so go check out his channel. I love the idea of just making an actual community of improvers. That's the actual goal here. I would love to have group study sessions, that kind of a thing on this channel. And that's kind of what I'm trying to build up to and build momentum for here with, whoa, I've never heard that sound effect before. Kind of what I'm trying to build momentum for with Splash Champs. So yeah, densifying the community is part of the name of the game. So go check out Cam's streams. I'm sure you'll learn a lot. Also, if you do want to be on Splash Champs next time around and you want to make sure that you are part of that community, you don't have to be a channel member here on Unlimited Splash, but it does help because that gives you early bird announcements about this kind of event and others. All right, so we are a little bit slow out of the gate here for such an aggressive deck. Our opponent has gotten time to find 3 basics naturally and then land a Misty Mountains Cold. So that gives us a problem to deal with. Now, here's something interesting though. We do have a burn, tree, and fern, which I believe the second ability of burn, tree, and fern is destroy an artifact. It doesn't say like non-token artifact or anything. So do we have time? On 3, their Misty Mountains makes an artifact. No, we're 1 step too slow, right? We can't play burn on 4 and then pop their treasure before the Misty Mountains Cold goes, right? If you can find a way to destroy your opponent's treasure, then you prevent the Misty Mountains Cold from making the dragon. Now it is I'm just trying to figure out, is this whole game about that dragon now? So if you control 4 or more treasures, sacrifice the Saga. If you do, make a 6/6 dragon with flying. Smaug deals 5 damage. Gnashing of Teeth gives -5/-5. Oh no, we have a Stir of Trouble in our hand. What am I talking about? Okay, so we already have the answer to that dragon. Okay, so, and the opponent did this thing that I was actually advocating in Splash Champs yesterday, when our champ of the day, John, was a little bit behind. Just running out the Gathering of Darkness for a mass 3, make it a 3/3 for 4. When you just want to pressure your opponent or when you need to catch up on the board, you don't actually need to get value out of that card, right? It says return up to 1 creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, so Cam opted for Ragged Short Spear to do some more card selection into Ravening Warg. Youch, Dane Ironfoot. That is a beating and a half. So now I can see, I think, why the opponent wanted to develop their board a little bit. So when Dane enters, it makes a 1, an equipment that gives +1/+0 with an equip cost of 2. When Dane attacks, each equipped attacking creature gains double strike until end of turn. Ravening Warg does hold back the Dane. Hold on, this is actually interesting. Attach it to target creature you control, not to another target creature you control. I was just about to say, the fact that they did not put it on Dane does suggest that they have removal for the Ravening Warg, because Ravening Warg has a Death Touch and would hold back the Dane. Okay, love the thematic lands here from Cam. Now hold on, what did they just do? They popped their treasures to play the Crude Bent Blade. Okay, the opponent, they lost me. The opponent, I didn't hate the Gathering of Darkness play because they seem like a very aggressive deck. And Cam was doing a lot of card selection stuff, so I can understand why they wanted to make Cam have some answers and make Cam do something. But that is giving up a lot of value, right? The fact that they played the Gathering of Darkness, not bringing back a creature, then played the Crude Bent Blade for their treasures, effectively blanking their own Misty Mountains Cold. That means that their Misty Mountains Cold is now just a delayed spend 3 mana now, get 3 mana back later, right? Which is not a good card. So I think they gave up way too much value in this game. And I'm rooting for Cam, so I'm glad that they did. I'm glad that they gave Cam such a chance to catch up. When my opponent starts doing things like that, it actually makes me a little bit scared. So Cam was thinking, now Cam is playing it super slow, which I actually love. Cam could have just run out a whole bunch of creatures. And even in this last turn, he could have gone burn, tree, and fern, and then stir up trouble, sacking the ragged short spear, right? We've stir up trouble. You can sacrifice an artifact for it. But he just has so much stuff. He just has so much utility to play with. I think his thinking is like, it's actually hard for him to run so far behind. He might as well be mana efficient. Unfortunately, he would have had to draw another land to be able to also play a 2-drop. And that is definitely a bit of a speed bump here. So now we have to catch up. I'm following so far. I like the just kind of slow rolling it and using all of your resources, because of the main advantage in this game is resources that you have over the super aggressive opponent. But now we kind of have to prove something, because we're at 8 and the opponent has a 3/2 trampler. So it's time to play some creatures, I would say. Probably I'm running out Dory to give, so we have 7 mana at our disposal. Dory gives us effectively 8 mana, so we play it. Then we have 5 mana to play with. Then I would probably just go Great Goblin and Dwalin. And Dwalin can actually put a Hone counter on Ragged Short Spear, so there's even value there. Maybe that's why Cam didn't want to sack the Ragged Short Spear, because it can actually get pretty relevant. I mean, you know, it starts giving something +3/+0. That's not nothing. Okay, Stir Up Trouble. I don't hate that either. I guess the thing, yeah, so we have another removal spell, so we really don't have to be so precious with our Stir Up Trouble. The reason that I probably was going to favor running out a bunch of creatures is because you're still not dead to a bunch of removal there. Here, why not just play the Back Cloud, because you're getting the discount, and when are you going to get that discount again? Dwalin you can play for 2 mana anytime, and it's not like you're going to use the Ragged Short Spear Hone counter anytime soon, is it? So I probably would have just put the Back Cloud down there. Now, what the heck is that? When a non-token creature you control dies, either Cam knows what this does, or he immediately knows it's not relevant. But I sure don't know what that does. 4 and a green for an enchantment. When a non-token creature you control dies, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. If its mana value is less than or equal to the number of lands you control, which would be 5, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Yeah, instead of playing that card, you should just play a creature. You just want to get value up front for your cards in limited. Okay, so yeah, I don't hate just running out Smaug. I mean, we have a lot of opportunity here. Have we played a land already? So technically, I guess we left 1 mana on the table compared to if we ran out Dreaded Backcloud and Great Goblin. This is why, so, okay, they stir up Troubled Dark Dwalin, so maybe this is why Cam ran out the Dwalin instead of the Dreaded Backcloud, is because we hadn't really been playing creatures yet, and we're against a Jund deck, so they presumably have a bunch of removal just sitting in their hand. And so he just wanted to pull the removal out of their hand. I think that makes sense, but at the same time, it's not like Dreaded Backcloud is the most important card for our game plan. We have an entire Smaug. But it would not have represented any more damage. Okay, looks like they got maybe another removal spell, like a Bilbo's Deadly Slice. Okay, that's looking pretty Bilbo's Deadly Slicey. Okay, no, it's another Stir Up Trouble. That's so funny. Yeah, see, if that Part in Friendship, yeah, triple Stir Up Trouble. If that Part in Friendship had been just a 5-drop, like let's say a Bjorn Reluctant Host, my favorite card of the format. Bjorn Reluctant Host, the best card in the sealed environment. If it had just been a 5/5 for 5, you know, they would be like blocking, or they would have taken a Gnashing of Teeth out of our hand. Gandalf is kind of nice for the reach damage, I guess, but we're kind of in a position where we're so far ahead, you need to start thinking about, how will I lose? Hold on. Oh, yeah. Gandalf. Okay, never mind. I definitely gave Gandalf too little credit, because that's a play pattern that I should have seen coming. I haven't played with this card yet, and I didn't think this part through. So because it's a wizard, you can do 5 mana, send it on an adventure, immediately play it, and then play the cards. That's the thing that it's encouraging you to do. Got it. Okay. Oh, it was a little slow on the uptake there, but that's cool. So Gandalf is actually better than I thought. Definitely better than a Bomber. Wow, the opponent is just all removal all the time. So I would really want to just be dealing damage as quickly and efficiently as possible. Crude Bent Blade is really nice because it just shuts down their Gandalf entirely. I mean, sorry, their Smaug entirely. And Gandalf is nice because it lets us push damage over the top. Oh yeah, so if we go Great Goblin plus Tidings of War, that's an immediate 3 damage just from creatures that we control, right? That's pretty sweet. And then Gandalf is going to crack in for another 3. Definitely Cam's game to lose here. All right, and there will be no losing for Cam. And it looks like we are now at 4 wins, 2 losses. Thank you, Cam, for upping our win count there. Great work. Sorry, I mean 5 wins, 2 losses. And Cam has to feel pretty good going into game 2 because, I mean, he just convincingly outplayed the opponent and built a better deck. So, opponent, you know, respect to you as well on your Magic improvement journey, but maybe you should watch the Observationist on Twitch. Okay, now Cam is getting a all mountain hand here and says, I'll keep it. And it's a very straightforward decision to me. I completely agree with the decision to keep, in large part because we had a Ragged Short Spear. Without that Ragged Short Spear, I would still probably keep if that were like a generic red 2-drop. But this is going to help accelerate us into our red or into our black. And remember, black is kind of a side color for us. So the fact that we have so much concentration of card power in red does give us the ability to keep these all red hands without being stumbling too much. And Dory is also going to splash us into black, so it'll let us play a Reverent Howl. Okay, so the opponent has planes of their own. They played a Nori, Teller of Tales, which attacks as a first striker and put a counter on it with their Golem. They have way underused their mana on turn 3, and Cam is just going to be curving out for a while now, probably using basically every little bit of mana at his disposal for the next few turns. So I love the way that this is shaping up. We even have a discount on the Ragged Short Spear equip cost. So Ragged Short Spear, which I'll pull up right up here, has an equip cost of 3 to give a creature +2/+0. And note that the special thing about Dwarven Mauler is that it reduces the equip abilities that target it by 2. So if Cam has 1 little mana left over, it can equip the Ragged Short Spear into the Dwarven Mauler and let that guy attack with 4 power. Okay, so we've just dealt 2 damage to the opponent, undoing the life gain that they got from the Golem. The opponent's in an attacking mood, which probably makes sense because we can just slap a Ragged Short Spear on something and attack through. But I think most likely what we're going to do is just burn, tree, and fern the Golem, go in for 5. The opponent is attacking us quite a lot, but we also have Reverent Howl if we really want to get that life back. I think most likely we are going to use the Reverent Howl as a +2/+2 and lifelink if we can't find, especially if we can find a swamp rather. But we do have 1 black mana at our disposal. Okay, so yeah, this is another option. We can try to trade off. If we trade, we have the option of a dreaded bat cloud plus a great goblin, which is just a ridiculous turn 4. Otherwise, let's see. This to me, this would have me being a little bit worried, this board state. I will admit, I'm a bit of a chicken. I'm a bit of a coward. I like to feel in control. But the idea that they can just spend 1 removal spell, like a single Pinecone Strike, and they get to crash in for 7, knocking us down to half our life total, that's pretty terrifying to me. So if they don't have removal here, we're feeling pretty good. But if they do have removal, we're essentially on a 2-turn clock, or we're in chumping territory. So this was a very aggressive line that Cam just took. Attack with the Dory so that it's not available to us as a blocker. Play a dreaded bat cloud as basically our only blocker that can actually trade with the opponent's creature. Me, I probably would have gone burn, tree, and fern to just get a little bit more control of the situation. That would also mean I still have access to my black mana if there's something else that I want to play, like if I really need to play Reverend Howl in a pinch. And then on a subsequent turn, maybe if you draw a swamp, you could double spell 2 dreaded bat clouds. Okay, but the opponent did not have removal, so I think we have to feel better about that. They're probably going to give their Golem, Silent, Slinker first strike. Really? Oh, because it has Menace, it's we can't directly trade with that. Yep, okay, nope, that's a good point. Yeah, this is looking a little bit rough. So I think now, yeah, you probably just have to take it, right? Because we chose the super aggressive line. I think that means that we're priced into killing the Golem after taking a bunch of damage and then trying to become the beatdown. Cam is doing exactly what you should do in these crucial moments and giving it a good long think. If you paid to enter the event, one of the resources that you are entitled to is your timer. Don't be afraid to use it. Okay, we did find our swamp. We do have access to a lifelink trick. We can go Ragged Short Spear plus lifelink trick. We could go burn, tree, and fern plus equipping the Ragged Short Spear. That should get us control of the situation, right? Burn on the Golem Silence Linker plus the Ragged Short Spear. I know that I'm not saying Cam is necessarily doing this, but I know that people like to save their removal and sealed for if they see a bomb. But to me, in a situation like this, your opponent doesn't even need a bomb to kill you. That Golem is going to kill you sooner or later, right? Okay, we're passing. Okay, all right, yay. So this is the maximally aggressive line that we've chosen. What interests me here is we have access to 5 mana. So why didn't we equip the Ragged Short Spear to something? Is he not gonna... He has to either spend removal or use the lifelink ability of Reverend Howl. I will say this line would never occur to me. Just to get into a race like this, where, in my view, one little thing going wrong causes you to lose, when instead I think we could have just gotten control of the game by spending our removal a little bit earlier. If we'd killed that Golem Silent Slinker, equipped a Short Spear onto the Dwarven Mauler, Norik would still be attacking for damage, but we could just pick it off with the Reverend Howl at some point. So now I assume we have to put that on the back cloud, right? Otherwise we're going to 7 and we're dead on the crackback. Is that right? No, sorry. We would be going to 9 and we're dead on the crackback. So we're going to take a trade with the army and put that on the back cloud. But didn't we just leave some damage on the table? Because if we had put the Ragged Short Spear on Dory, we would have gotten some extra. Oh, I'm sorry. We couldn't put it on Dory because equip costs 3, but we could have put it on the Dwarven Mauler. And I guess it didn't matter because it would have just been a trade either way. Okay. All right. So now the opponent, they did find their removal that I was worried about them finding a while ago, or them having a few turns ago. They crack in for 7 damage, which will put us to 4. And what can we do to stabilize? We cannot double spell this turn, even if we find a land. Actually, that's a double spell. But we're dead. Are we just dead on board? I think, hold on. I don't think that we can just do kill one thing. Then we're probably blocking Owen and taking 4. We're dead on board if we do this, right? Play this you have to hit the golem. Dory blocks Owen. You take 4 from Nori and the 1/1, or else they give Nori. We're not quite dead on board, but they give Nori first strike. Dory blocks it and dies, and you take 3. So the other thing that you can do, here's what I think you should do: play the Dory, make a treasure, play the Great Goblin, then you can double block Golem, and you're still in a position of chumping Nori, so it actually doesn't matter, does it? Either way. Let's see, Dory plus, yeah, everything has 2 toughness. So, okay, no, my line was exactly the same result. Okay, yeah, so we're priced into chumping Nori. If they have actually, no, we are dead on board because they have Tidings of War. They can just buff their army. That also works. Now they're just showing off. So, I will say, I think the crucial turn was playing the dreaded Backcloud instead of playing Burn Tree and Fern, letting the Golem get in for some extra damage. I think if we went back and counted how much extra damage that Golem did after we could have removed it, it was probably a good chunk of our life total. Unfortunate. I think then maybe that attack was a bit overzealous. Like, we kind of chose the most aggressive line and then committed really hard to the most aggressive line. And I don't think that we needed to do the attack. Like, we could have let the opponent attack us, played Reverend Howl on defense. Yes, they probably have an instant speed removal. Yes, their deck has a lot of instant speed removal in it, presumably, so they could snap off a creature and get a 2-for-1 against the Reverend Howl. But at that point, you just need it to work. And they also probably did not have removal in their hand because they would have killed it when we played the dreaded Backcloud. Although in my line, we wouldn't have gotten that information. But okay, enough said. We're not mana screwed this time, so hopefully things will go more smoothly. I guess, unfortunately, I also need to update our wins and losses counter. We're down to 5 wins, 3 losses. But I have faith that Cam will keep things ticking here and get us some more wins. Okay, another Golem Silence Linker, another Rakdos deck, another day, another Rakdos deck. Welcome to the Hobbit. So we have a 2/2 Goblin Town Flunky swinging in at us, and they have a 1/1 to spare. I would not be blocking. I do not want to trade my precious 2/2 Death Toucher for some random little goblin. So I totally agree with the idea of just taking it here. I mean, among other things, if we can get a 4-power creature one day, then that Ravening Warg is actually going to start gaining us life, which is probably super relevant in this matchup. I will say this is a situation where the Great Goblin is looking a little weak. I think the fact that it's understated does really hurt it in situations like this where you're behind. Okay, what do they have here? Yeah, I was going to say there's no way that they're just chumping. Okay, so the Great Goblin, I'm just trying to remind myself of the second ability. When another Goblin, Orc, or army you control dies, exile the top card and you may play it until the end of your next turn. So we may actually get in a cheeky attack with Goblin Town Flunkies. I love having a Pinecone Strike when my opponent has a Golem Silence Linker. That's just the ideal situation. I'm all for just firing it off here. You could play the Goblin Town Flunkies and attack with Goblin Town Flunkies and Ravening Warg. If the Goblin dies, then you get your Great Goblin trigger. But yeah, I think this is what I would be doing. It's just get rid of that darn thing. 4/3 Menace turns out to be really good in this set. Who knew? I did not think that card would be particularly good. Turns out it's not Adventurous Eater Part 2. It's much better than that. Okay, down comes a Smaug. This is good because you want to be the second person to play your Smaug. You want your Smaug to kill their Smaug. I will say, I'm not sure what I was trying to play instead of Iron Hill Stalwart, but I think having something a little bit faster in this hand would be better. So maybe this is +1 for playing something else. But Dwalin's actually looking here as just a 2-power first striker. It can just block down a Goblin Flunkies. It can attack pretty nicely. And yeah, let's play it, definitely. It looked like Cam was about to go past the turn, but I assume that was just a mouse movement. But I did get a little bit scared. No reason not to run out the Dwalin Weapon Master here. I mean, technically there is Glowing, the one that deals 1 damage to each creature the opponent controls for 3, but I do not think you're supposed to play around that. Yes, let's just get rid of that bothersome Noisemaker. Nothing is more bothersome than a bothersome Noisemaker, and when we get 1 more mana, we can hit their Smaug. Technically, yes, if they find a land, they can play Smaug next turn, and we don't have enough mana yet to play our Smaug, but the Burn Tree and Fern gets you closer to being able to do that, because turn after next, it's going to generate an extra mana for us, which would be before Smaug gets to attack if they play it next turn. So actually now we're just hoping that they play out their Smaug. That would be awesome. Also, we get to destroy their My Precious, so they cannot give their Smaug hexproof, and that actually matters. That actually could matter. We get to pop the Precious. Oh, we don't even need to find a land. We can just shoot Smaug. I'm sorry, it wouldn't have been before Smaug gets to attack. It would have been after one Smaug attack. But okay, no, this is awesome. Being the second person to play your Smaug, perfection. That is perfection. Okay. In with Dwalin, and I like not attacking with anything else. Oh yeah, right. Okay, it is 1 toughness, so they can double block. I didn't fully think that through, but I think that was still the right choice. Here, I would definitely just pitch Owen. I think the 4 power is just so relevant on this board, especially with Ravening Warg. It's worth an extra 2 life gain, and if they want to double block your Ravening Warg, that's fine. So yeah, I'm all for just pitching Owen. We're also about to get to play a Smaug soon, hopefully. Oh yeah, our Owen would not even be storied either until we play Smaug. So, and maybe not even then, unless we draw... Yeah, I think... Yeah. Maybe not even then. Okay. All right. So we're going to add a red. I assume play an Iron Hills Stalwart, and then I would just attack with Ravening Warg. That's how I would play this turn. I don't think there's any good reason to Gnashing of Teeth here. Oh, you could give all their stuff -1/-1. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of just want to use our mana and develop our board. Then we can Gnashing of Teeth next turn and get in for an even bigger attack. I think this is the moment to be aggressive. The Gnashing of Teeth is also nice if they find like another Smaug or something. I would definitely just run out the chunky creature. It's just a huge trampler. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, do this one. All right. Cam goes for the Iron Hill Stalwart, which I agree with. You don't need to be pressing damage every turn. Like, you're ahead. Let's see. Attacking with the Warg, I'm not so sure now because we can just kill their stuff with Gnashing of Teeth next turn if they don't play another creature. But I guess this means that Cam is not interested in Gnashing of Teeth for -1 to everything. Did it trigger and gain us life? I somehow missed that, but I have to assume that it did. All right, the opponent does get to loot with their Thor's Map. They were just holding a land, or they drew a land off the top. Let's see if they can turn this around. Gundabad Opportunist is actually a nice start. If you could top deck any one card, that might be one of the best ones. Into Burn, Tree and Fern. Wow, that's kind of nasty. And then they attack for 2, and we just have to take it. But okay, we get a swamp, generate a mana. Wow, Burn is so good. Drop a land, and let's just play our Smaug. You know him, you love him, you've seen him coming forever. Down comes the Smaug. Gundabad Opportunist cannot attack well on this board, and the opponent can do so much looting and pilfering. So we kind of have to assume, they have a lot of spare mana now. They have an Owen the Brave and a Thor's Map. We have to assume that they're going to find gas every turn. And so that's part of why I like having the Gnashing of Teeth now. Just the chances that they, can like bring back a Smaug. Wow, this is getting ugly. Goblin Plate Mail. Okay, Crude Bent Blade I like quite a lot. I like finding that here quite a lot. So we can play the blade, equip the Smaug, crack in for 7. The opponent is going to shoot our Smaug and play their own Smaug. But they can't do all of that in one turn. So next turn we can go Gnashing of Teeth -5/-5 on the army if we want to, although we probably want to save that for Smaug. They pitched a Bolg's Company. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, they're going to loot again because they have so much mana. There's just no reason not to. 4, 5, 6. It's hard for them to play something in addition to Smaug. Oh, well, you can do that. And flashing back. Whoa, wait. I'm sorry, what just happened? Oh, the Smaug has 6 toughness. I miss that Crude Bent Blade gives +1 toughness. Okay, ignore everything that I've been saying for the last few. For the duration of this turn. I just actually missed that Crude Bent Blade is not Ragged Short Spear. It gives an extra toughness. Part of why this card is performing is a B+ or whatever, probably, right? Okay, very nice. So we actually saved our Smaug with that. I didn't even notice. I thought that we were kind of fighting for our life there, but actually they were not able to Smaug our Smaug, and so we Smaugged it up, got them on a 2-turn clock and killed them. So good job to Cam, having the game sense that I lacked and noticing that the thing has 6 toughness. And yeah, this is just an auto keep. I think I wouldn't even consider throwing this back for real. So okay, turn 1 Dwarven Mauler, turn 2 I would be all over Goblin Town Flunkies, and let's just beat down, curve out, and get a quick win. All right, and we even find our swamp. And Cam is thinking about not even giving the opponent the information about what our second color is, which I actually think matters. I would be playing the Goblin Town Flunkies, honestly. Just get some damage in. Then next turn you can go Ragged Short Spear and equip onto the Dwarven Mauler. But why not get an extra 2 damage? I think the pilfering is a lot better when you don't have something to do yet. When you do have something to do, you don't need to pilfer because you don't need to select different cards into your hand, right? Okay, so now, how much should we care about? I guess Crude Bent Blade, if they play a better creature, it'll still just hit the Bolg's Company, so. And then we can suit up the Dwarven Mauler with the Crude Bent Blade, so that's pretty awesome, going for 4. All right, that was nice. That was very nice. And we wouldn't have gotten to do that if we hadn't looted, because we wouldn't yet have drawn the Bent Blade. All right, but 2 can play at that game. There's enough blades for everybody here. So Owen, if you play it, you get a story immediately. I guess that's kind of nice. I would just be on Dory here because I want to use all of my mana. Yeah, I would just be playing the Dory. It's a 3-power trampler, which is a very solid stat line to have in this spot. And then, you know, you can suit it up later on. It also accelerates you, smooths out your draws, gives you access to burn next turn. So I would have been on Dory, but you know, Owen does have haste, so I guess it's like 1 step faster. Interesting. So Kim is actually going to try to use this for card selection, maybe throwing away the Goblin Town Flunkies. All right, so there's a green splash, and we get to see what the green splash is for all at the same time. Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. So now we're just going to burn the Warg's Company. I mean, you have to. That's just absolutely forced play. Burn the Warg's Company, attack with Owen. Put them to 12 HP. That's annoying. What the opponent takes will tell us a lot about the speed of their hand. If they think this game will go a little longer, they take Gandalf. If they think the game could conclude faster, they should take Dory. That's just the higher power trampler, right? So yeah, I think it makes sense to... I mean, you could just play Dory, use the treasure to activate the Bent Blade, or to equip the Bent Blade, and go in for 4. Kind of like that move. It means that you're not on Gnashing of Teeth, but the Gnashing of Teeth is face up, and you have another removal spell, so I might actually just want to throw that away with Owen at some point. I think you just need to press your advantage right now. I guess the fact that we have access to Pinecone Strike if we don't pop the treasure matters, though. That might be what Cam was thinking about. If they play like the other Golem, the 4/3 Golem, then we get to Pinecone Strike it. But I don't know. I might rather just have a 5/4 and have the opponent be at 8 right now. Another consideration, I guess, is that maybe we would rather have the equipment on the Dory because it has Trample. So maybe we would be paying an equip cost this turn anyways. My inclination is just suit up Dory. I don't think you have a reason to Pinecone Strike here because you're making way for 2 damage by doing that. Remember that Golem can't block. So you're making room for 2 damage, which is the same that you get by suiting up the Trampler. Yeah, okay, so maybe he didn't realize that Golem can't block. What's the rationale? What's the rationale for killing that? It can't block, so why do we care about it? Just let it attack you. That's fine. Yeah. I think we could have just saved the Pinecone Strike, put the Short Spear on the Dory. And if we'd used the treasure last turn, actually, that would have been a lethal attack. If we'd used the treasure last turn to suit up Owen, and they would have been at 3. And then we instead of Pinecone Striking, we suited up the Trampler with the Ragged Short Spear. Yeah, we would have had enough mana to do that. Then they would be dead now, right? So I think we could have played this one step faster, but it turned out not to matter. And I probably learned something from the fact that Cam did find that crude bent blade by playing the Ragged Short Spear in a spot where I just would have been running out aggressive creatures. So yeah, maybe there's something for me to learn there. Maybe Ragged Short Spear on two was better than Lake Town flunkies there. All right, sorry, I've been negligent in updating our win counter. I believe Cam is now at, he's sitting at 3-1, so that's 7 wins and 3 losses for us total. All right, a quick mulligan, and then putting back the card that we can't cast. Everything seems pretty straightforward to me so far. The thing about this deck with that first hand is you can keep hands that are all mountains. I think gets me every time. You can keep hands that are all mountains, but you cannot keep hands that are all swamps, right? Because if I remember correctly, the deck is so slanted towards red. The pool overall is so slanted towards red. Oh, youch. Oh, I don't love this. Not our favorite situation. You have a choice between playing the Ravening Warg or pilfering with Owen to try to find your 3rd land. It's a tough call, honestly. You could also use Misty Mountain's Cold to just accelerate you. But you know that I do not love doing that. Now, you can play Misty Mountain's Cold and then play Dory and get your extra treasure get an extra treasure that way, like a backup treasure, in case the opponent has a way of destroying your treasure, but I'm not sure that matters. And note that Misty Mountain's Cold, it's going to pop when it pops. Getting the extra treasure doesn't accelerate it. Kind of cool to play against a deck that is not just Rakdos. And the double Bilbo Baggins, I mean, you hate to see it because that's such a strong card. But at the same time, it looks like, did the opponent miss a land drop? No, they didn't. However, it does mean that one of the Bilbo Bagginses is stuck in their hand. They don't have an easy way of trading off their Bilbo because we have a 2/3. It's not like they can just attack with it and we awkwardly have to take damage. But we also have the option. We could take damage. Oh, really? Firing off the bent blade? I would not be doing that. I would be looking to get a 6/6 dragon here. I mean, yeah, they could just have the bounce target creature effect for 4 mana. Or all sorts of other removal spells in black, but I want to make them have it. Yeah, maybe we can clear the way with an Iron Hill Stalwart. We can spare 1 treasure on that, so long as they don't have a way of destroying a treasure, but I really like the insurance policy of having an extra treasure. We're not in a huge hurry right now. So the opponent, this kind of undoes Bilbo Baggins, right? Having to sacrifice a Bilbo Baggins to play another Bilbo Baggins means you spent 3 mana to draw a card, but then had to sacrifice the creature anyways to get another 3 mana to draw a card. So we're no longer feeling so bad about the whole Bilbo situation. All right, we got our beautiful 6/6 dragon online, and we can go. If we go Bent Blade now, we're not making their life less awkward, which we would have before. But I think I just want to play the Iron Hill Stalwart. I think I just want to develop my board in a spot like this. And then we can use a treasure to pop, to pilfer with the Owen. So if we play the Iron Hill Stalwart, we don't even give up the opportunity. Okay, but one thing to like about the Bent Blade line, and I think we probably should... Oh, we can just do both and attach the equipment. No, nice find by Cam. Using all of your treasures, you can play the Iron Hill Stalwart and immediately slap the equipment on Dory. There is no quench in the set, so we don't have to play around a counterspell, the Sound the Trumpets, and Confusticate and Be Bothered or whatever. Those are both 3 mana counters, so we just go ahead and do it. No, I loved that idea. I think that was an awesome plan. Iron Hill Stalwart, on entry, it attaches any equipment to something, right? So wouldn't we still have gotten the advantage? Iron Hill's Stalwart. Iron Hill Stalwart, when it enters, attach any equipment to a creature you control. So I actually am not sure why we didn't do that. Was there worry about like a board wipe or something? Is there a counter that I'm not thinking of? Not at common or uncommon. So we would have a whole extra 4/5 here, wouldn't we? I think we should have played the Iron Hill Stalwart. There might be something I'm not thinking of. Now, probably it's worth just pilfering with Owen. Yeah, I don't see why not. We could have even put the bent blade on. No, we would have had to put it on Dory. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Gandalf is a better 5 mana play. But we have kind of speed bumped ourselves, right? Play the Gandalf. Now they do actually have counter mana. So probably I'm just wanting to play Iron Hill Stalwart anyways, right? 3 blue in this set is counter mana in 2 different ways at common or uncommon. We can pay the cost for Confusticate though. But if they have Sound the Trumpets, we're going to give them an amass here. So we're just hoping they don't have it. All right, they don't. Okay, I think it looked like we ripped 2 lands off. Okay, stick this on Ravening Warg to offer a trade. We could have also put it on Owen and attacked with both, right? And Owen can't be blocked. I think that might have been better because it would have been worth more damage. Ding, okay. That's fine. Put a hone counter for each creature target player controls. So instead of trading, they're going to trade, right? It doesn't give first strike or anything. Okay, so that did nothing. And then are we going to pop our treasures for Gandalf? I think I'm all for it. I really want to be developing the board. I'm not sure why we didn't play the Iron Hill Stalwart. We would have had an extra 4/5 trampler. And so I'm definitely all for playing Gandalf here as well. But I think one thing I'm realizing is Cam puts a huge premium on having the right cards in hand. I think a lot of the time he's choosing lines where instead of developing his board, he is picking and choosing cards in hand. And that's interesting. That's just an interesting difference from how I would be approaching this situation. Like saving mana here to get rid of the mountain instead of playing Gandalf. But Gandalf is not a huge prize, right? So it's not like we're giving up that much. I think it has 2 lands exiled under it. So it's really just a 2/3 that will sometimes deal damage. And here we definitely are attacking. Yeah, the opponent has no block, certainly. So Sting can make that a 4/1 menace. Desolation Prowler, well, is a little annoying. All right. So I think I'm all for just playing the Iron Hill Stalwart. And yeah, it makes sense to play the land so that next turn you can play Smaug. So slap down the Stalwart, put the Crude Bent Blade on Owen, and we can even attack. And we can block the Desolation Prowler with the Iron Hill Stalwart. Well, they might just re-equip. They might just re-equip, so we can't block, actually. But then they're dead on the next attack. If they Alpha Strike here, unless they have a removal spell or another blocker, they're just straight up dead to the next attack. And even if it's a small blocker, they might be dead because we can put Bent Blade on a Trampler. So yeah, I would just slap the Blade on Owen and attack here. So Cam is thinking about whether he's going to want to be blocking with this. Yep, I fully agree with this decision. The opponent gave it a beat as if they had some response, but I don't think that they do. And then attack. This is exactly what I would have done. Now the opponent, they're nowhere close to just straight up killing you, right? So they have to, okay, they have a removal spell. Okay. Going to 5 is So if we can play Gandalf and play a non-creature spell, hold on. Can we just pop our utility land? Can we just pop Goblin Town and go for lethal? The odds that they also have some instant speed removal are very low, right? Put 2 counters on a Goblin or Orc. No, Owen is a Dwarf. Okay. Oh, I wish we had a non-creature spell. I wish that we had a non-creature spell. I would not be attacking here. I would hold back. So if you hold back, you're only dead to a remove. Attacking does not lower their clock at all. They still have to deal with Smaug. If you hold back, then you're only dead to a extra damage dealing plus a removal spell. And the odds that they just top decked extra way to deal damage and removal are so low. So yeah, Cam made the correct decision, got rewarded for it. Well played, very well played by Cam overall. My one question is, like, if we'd play that Iron Hill Stalwart earlier, I think we could have closed the game out faster, unless I'm missing. I could always be missing something. I've missed things many times before. But okay, so that's actually 4 wins. Cam has now tied the record for the best Splash Champs run. We are looking at a 4-1 so far. We previously in the Hobbit had our Splash Champ go 4-0 into 0-2, I believe. So Cam does not have the loss to give, but has the same number of wins as the most successful Splash Champ run ever, including all 5 Splash Champ runs from Marvel. And we're getting a much better hand this time. Last game was on a mulligan too, so that's pretty sweet. I definitely agree with running out the Flunkies or the Warg. You're an aggro deck, you want to just be doing aggro things, and Gandalf is probably better if you can double spell him, just especially like on turn 6 if you don't have a land drop. Go adventure Gandalf, rip a land off the top and play it. I think that's really the sweet spot for Gandalf. I didn't think he was basically any good until Cam taught me that play pattern by doing it, and now I think you just kind of have to go for that play pattern for Gandalf to be any good. I do wish that we had maybe a little bit more access to amass so that we could, you know, buff this army in spots like this. But it's not like Cam was leaving amass cards on the sideboard, right? We just didn't really see that much. All right, opponent plays a second. Actually, it's our second Dimir deck in a row. The opponent plays a second Swamp. Lakeshore Apothecary does have Vigilance. Yeah, I was going to say we'll learn a lot from whether or not they decide to attack. For example, if they had a Troll Shaws, then attacking might be pretty natural. And they actually did nothing with their mana on 3, so it really makes me wonder if they have a Bilbo's Deadly Slice. Here, I think I would just be on... Okay, you can Flame Shape if you want to see what Gandalf gets, but I would not play Gandalf here. I would play either Owen or Ravening Warg. Oh, is this a Confusticate? Okay, yeah. That's what the 3 mana was. I was thinking Bilbo's Deadly Slice, but it was a Confusticate. That's perfectly fine. We'd honestly probably much rather that Gandalf eats Confusticate than burn, tree, and fern. Yeah. And Owen gets to attack because we have Dory plus Owen plus a treasure token. Sweet. That's awesome. A hasty Owen. No one ever complained about that. Lakeshore Apothecary is going to attack, and we should not block it. If you double block and they have a Troll Shaws, you just get absolutely blown out. So you should just take. And they do have a Troll Shaws. Okay. And they probably had it last turn, and they would have played it if we didn't play something worth countering. Okay, but there's our Amass. Actually, no, that's not Amass. That just rewards you for having Amass. Never mind. But it at least gives you value if your Goblin dies. But now, you know what? This Lakeshore Apothecary is getting annoying. I would not be opposed to run out Ravening Warg and then next turn just burn the Apothecary and get to do some attacks. I like attacking with all here very much, yeah. Because if they kill either of the goblins, your Great Goblin is going to reward you. So as a reminder of what our friend the Great Goblin does, when a goblin you control dies... Goblin, Orc, or Army. Exile the top card of your library. You may play it until the end of your next turn. I like that they had to say Goblin, Orc, or Army, because if your army loses one of those creature types, this thing still triggers. That's pretty awesome. All right. So in with Lakeshore Apothecary, we should just take this. There's absolutely no reason not to. No reason for the opponent not to attack. No reason for us to do anything but take the damage. And then Bilbo's Deadly Slice on a card that was frankly not that important for us. Okay, so maybe the Bat Cloud can eat a burn. Honestly, yeah, I think it should be Bat Cloud. And then I think we should just go all out. Slap down the Ravening Warg. So attack with everything, slap down the Ravening Warg. That's my view. We should just try to deal as much damage as possible as quickly as possible. Here I'm not seeing why, you know, where the value is in being precious about those 1/1s, because if they block a 1/1, I think Cam was absolutely right to attack with everything last turn and give them the opportunity of killing one of the goblins, because we got value out of the Great Goblin, so it made perfect sense. But this turn as well, I think I would just have been attacking with everything. The opponent would now be at either 4 or 5. And Gilded Boat is really annoying with Lakeshore Apothecary. However, we can destroy target artifact an opponent controls, so this is making me wonder if the opponent realizes what Burn, Tree, and Fern does. I'm just... Sorry, I got quiet for a moment because I'm just kind of sitting here scratching my head, and now maybe the opponent is realizing their mistake. It's just a little bit weird. Like, it's not like they're going to be able to recur it. It's not a creature in the graveyard, so you can't Gathering of Darkness it. So I think our esteemed foe here made a major blunder and is now kind of kicking themselves, right? Unless I'm missing something. I just spent a while looking at this board state and trying to figure out if I'm missing something, but I think they're the one who is missing something. Yeah, no, bit of a whoopsie there. Don't play your Great Gilded Boat the turn before your opponent's Burn, Tree, and Fern is about to pop. Unless I'm forgetting some return target artifact from your graveyard to your hand card. But yeah, the opponent has to be kicking himself. Keep the Goblin Town. Keep the Goblin Town. Put away the mountain. Goblin Town is going to let a goblin have more power. That's relevant, right? So Cam is probably thinking right now, is there anything like, what if I draw Iron Hill Stalwart or something like that? But no, I think you really just want... The Goblin Town is money in your hand, right? And then we can tap both of our swamps for Ravening Warg, level up our army. We don't get to attack this turn, but we're setting up for an attack next turn. I will say... No, I was going to say, like, if we had pushed a little bit more damage by attacking with the 2 armies previously, we'd have a little bit less power on board. But I was wondering if we could force an awkward block, but no way, no way. All right, Golem. Oh, the 2 life gain. How did I ever not realize how good that card is? I mean, it was... The version of it that we saw in the last set was terrible. So, or 2 sets ago. So, okay, down comes a Goblin Plate Mail. What we really want is, we need to be fast because the opponent is now showing us they have a, I'm sure they have a 3-drop here, because otherwise why wouldn't you just play the Goblin? And then they have, oh, maybe not. Maybe it's a Bilbo's Deadly Slice given the way that they tapped. And then they have double Troll Shaws. So the moment that they start getting to draw cards off of those Troll Shaws, they're going to have so much value. But okay, so we should play the adventure form of this. Shoot the Lakeshore Apothecary and attack with everything. They do not have Sound the Trumpets. They could have another Confusticate, but you'll never play around that with your Smaug, right? They do appear to have... I'm betting it's a Bilbo's Deadly Slice. I'm betting that's what the opponent has here. So in with the Warg, in with Dory. There are no force blocks, so we probably don't go in with anything else. I could believe that this is just the attack. If you attack with everything, they're going to kill Owen and the Goblin Town flunkies, taking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, maybe you do actually get to just attack with everything. How much do we care about Owen here? Not that much. So attack with everything. They probably have to put the 2/2 in front of Dory or Ravening Warg, and then put the 4/3 in front of Owen. And then they're taking something like 5 damage. And we're left with 3 creatures. They're left with 1. That sounds good to me. Okay, we can at least attack with Ravening Warg, right? This strikes me as a pretty passive attack. I wonder if Cam is worried about the Bilbo's Deadly Slice that I also suspect they might have. But if we had attacked with everything, we would now have them at potentially two or three, depending on how they blocked. Yeah, I'm worried about this just getting sliced out of the air now. So I wouldn't want to put all my eggs in this basket. Yeah, it was a Bilbo's Deadly Slice. Well, okay, we haven't lost the opportunity to attack with a Ravening Warg. Yeah. I'm just a little worried that the moment has now passed, that they can plunder, draw 2, they'll find a 2-drop, get another blocker, gain some life. Yeah, so I would have wanted to press the advantage. There were concretely a few moments that I picked out where I would have wanted to press the advantage faster. But I'm no aggro expert, so definitely your mileage may vary. Now they get to play a second blocker. We can Tidings, making a 4-3. We can attack with Ravening Warg, making a 4-4. We can attack with Ravening Warg in a 4-4, but we are dead on the crackback because they're going to have so much power in Menace cards. They're not even playing their Golem. Are you serious? What if we had a removal spell in hand? We would just win. They had nothing in hand. Okay. The opponent made a very important misplay there. But does it give us an opening? We can Tidings of War, attack with Ravening Warg, gain HP, and put ourselves outside of the danger zone for, like, we'll be at 10 HP. So I would hold back here, but attack with Ravening Warg, and then we get to loot with Owen, right? Attack with everything. Whoa. Wow. Okay. I mean, they have to have drawn something relevant. I guess they put the 4-3 in front of the 5-5. Take 5. No, actually, Cam was right here to attack with everything. Yep. Cam was right to attack with everything. We shouldn't be playing scared around somehow deal an extra 4 being in their hand. So we have them out 1. It really makes you wonder if there was any moment we could have dealt 1 more damage. But Gathering of Darkness. Make a 3-3, play this, and then we have 3 blockers. It's not enough yet, is it? Long Lake Nuisance, not playing the 2-drop, so they get an extra blocker. Oh, man. Dreaded Bat Cloud. So, okay, yes, we can pop something and put it on our... So they have to block everything. So can we pop a Goblin Town, put it on the Goblin Town flunkies? No, because I don't think so. Because then they just get to, like, put a 3-3 in front of Ravening Warg, put Golem in front of the 3-3 flunkies. I don't think we have a good attack. Oh, this is tough. Oh, man. So probably the best bet is just play Dreaded Bat Cloud and pitch the Mountain at the end of the opponent's turn. Golem can get blocked by, like, Ravening Warg plus a 5-5 or Goblin Town Flunkies plus a 5-5 if they attack. They can give their Flyer Menace and deal 4 damage. Oh, hold on. Okay, first of all, don't tap like this if you're going to do that, because maybe you can play a Bat Cloud after combat. Hold on. No, don't tap down the swamp. Okay, whew. All right, thank you, Cam. You made me very worried there for a second. So then are we going to attack with the 7-7 and the Ravening Warg? My worry is, okay, we're attacking with everything. I thought that we can't do this. I thought it was too much value for them. So maybe I'm wrong, but my worry is they put a 3-3 in front of Owen the Brave, the 5-4 in front of the 1-1, and then maybe they trade the Long Leg Nuisance for Ravening Warg. I thought that this works out badly for us, but hey, I'm going to learn something. I could definitely be wrong. Got to play that Mountain first. I guess, you know what? I guess I can definitely see Cam sinking, which is like, now they have to have found a removal spell. They do have 4 draws to do it, though. But if they don't find a removal spell, they are dead next turn because we got rid of that flyer. Would we? And we definitely, there was no way for them to block where the flyer wouldn't die because it has 1 toughness. So whatever you put it in front of, it's going to be gone. My worry here, though, is the opponent did get to see an extra 3 cards on top of their deck. Azog! Oh, they sandbagged us on the Azog. Are you kidding me? Oh, man. They just slow rolled it all the way to the rope to play the Azog. Look, folks, you should use your timer, but I don't think they had to think that hard about that. Right. Okay. Oh, well. Heartbreak. Now they get a golem, so even a removal spell is not going to do it for us. Another flyer, but no, we're gonna have to block the golem, and they can actually, we're dead on board. They just have to equip the goblin plate mail to the 3/3, then they get to attack with 2 4-power menace creatures. We should play the Dreaded Backcloud and make them have it. Make them find it, I mean. Make them find the line. But there is a line that's just gonna kill us. So Cam does it. If you want to win a box, you should forget that the concede button exists. For real. Just never... Do not concede in these events. Seriously, it's just not worth it. The only situation in which I concede is on my first loss early in the event, if it's just going to be demoralizing to play it out and make me grumpy about my deck. But in spots like this, at least make the opponent have it. Cam goes for the let's see if our opponent disconnects before they proceed to damage plan. Just kidding, just kidding. Good games all around. That was an absolute heartbreaker. Yeah, that one was an absolute heartbreaker. I mean, there were... We really have to ask ourselves if we could have pushed 1 more damage. There were moments when I wanted to be a little bit more aggressive or put a creature on the battlefield a little bit earlier. I'm not convinced. Certainly not everything that I said would have worked out better. Like, for example, attacking with the Lake Town flunkies and getting it eaten by the Lake Town +1/+1 counter thingy on the other side of the battlefield. That would have meant that the next, like, there was a subsequent attack where we got to deal that damage anyways. So it probably wouldn't have netted 1 damage. Or if they'd been the army, our army would have been smaller, and maybe it being a 4/4 instead of a 5/5 would have worked out worse for us. So not every moment when I wanted to press the advantage would have worked out better, but we could go back and try to figure out, like, is there some lesson in there about a moment when we could have just pushed that 1 extra damage? One lesson is do not play your great gilded boat into the opponent's burn tree and fern when it's about to pop. But our opponent did not get punished because they managed to win the game anyways. So a huge thank you to Cam. Great gameplay by Cam, and 4 and 2 is a very good result, basically getting your gems back. And that puts us at a 2-to-1 win to loss ratio for Splash Champs this season, which is pretty awesome. And honestly, other than a whole bunch of moments when I think Cam and I made different gameplay decisions, and of course I'm not saying I'm right and he's wrong, just, you know, differences of opinion that are, I think, good opportunities for learning, I would have ended up in, I think, pretty much an identical deck, like give or take a few cards here and there, but I think that was just the deck that the pool produced. And Cam was very careful about finding it, doing due diligence, making sure that that was basically the best deck in the pool, but I'm pretty confident that it was. And especially for a pool that had basically no rares worth talking about, that was, 4 and 2 is a good result. So a huge thank you to Cam. We're going to have another 1 or 2 Splash Champs episodes this season. If you want to see them, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. And until tomorrow, have tons of fun playing Magic, and don't be afraid to splash.